9-foot-tall vampire Countess called me her pet, then crowned me her king. The first time I saw her was under the cold silver wash of the moon. The castle loomed over me like a shadow carved from stone, and every instinct in my body screamed to run. Yet I didn't. My boots echoed against the cracked marble steps as though something unseen tugged me forward. Inside, the air was thick with dust and roses long dead. A grand hall stretched before me, lined with tattered banners and golden chandeliers whose candles still burned, though no one had touched them for centuries. That was when she appeared. From the shadows of the throne at the far end, a figure rose. Tall, impossibly tall. She moved with the grace of a queen and the silence of a predator. Her gown shimmered like liquid night, and her pale skin glowed against it. Her crimson eyes fixed on me as if she had been expecting me. "You've come at last," she said, her voice a melody that made the hair on my arms stand. I swallowed hard. Who are you?" She smiled, revealing fangs long and sharp enough to split bone. She stepped forward, towering over me. 9 feet of elegance and terror. She smelled of wine and iron. "I am Countess Selvaria," she whispered, circling me the way a hawk circles prey. Her nails traced along my shoulder. "And you are mine now. My pet." My breath caught. Fear rooted me, but some strange current inside me wouldn't let me flee. Her presence was overwhelming, yet intoxicating. "Pet," I managed, trembling. "Yes," she purred, tilting my chin up with one long finger. "I have walked this earth for centuries, surrounded by corpses and cowards. But you," her eyes gleamed. "You stepped willingly into my lair. That makes you different." I wanted to speak, to object, to demand freedom, but her gaze held me like chains. When she leaned closer, I braced for fangs at my throat. Instead, her lips brushed my ear. "You will kneel." And I did. Not out of obedience, but because my knees buckled under the weight of her power. Days blurred into nights. She kept me in her vast halls, never chaining me yet never allowing me to leave. Servants of mist and shadow brought me food and wine, though she herself dined only on goblets filled with a dark crimson liquid. Sometimes she would stalk me like a cat, her laughter echoing when I flinched. Other times she would sit with me by the fire, her long legs stretched across the floor, and speak of empires long fallen and kings turned to dust. "You mortals burn so bright," she said one night, her gaze on the flames. "But you burn out too quickly. That is why I collect treasures that endure." Her eyes slid to me. "Like you." Despite myself, I began to answer her, to tell her of my village, my past, my fears. She listened with unnerving patience, her hand occasionally brushing my hair, as though I truly was her pet. Yet, something changed in her the night she invited me into the throne room once more. The firelight flickered across her pale face, and she studied me as though weighing a decision. Then she spoke. "I tire of calling you pet." My chest tightened. Was she releasing me? Or preparing to end me? "I want more," she continued. "A companion. A king to stand beside me." My heart stopped. A king. She rose from her throne, each step rattling through the chamber. When she stopped before me, she took my hand in hers. Her nails were cold against my skin, but her grip was unshakable. "Yes, you will not kneel as a pet any longer. You will kneel only once more before I crown you." I searched her face for deception. Surely this was some cruel game. But her eyes, though crimson and fierce, held something else. Something fragile. The coronation was like nothing I could have imagined. In the cathedral ruins atop the castle, moonlight poured through shattered stained glass. Shadows of winged gargoyles stretched across the stone floor. She stood before me, draped in a cloak of midnight velvet, a crown of black iron glinting in her hands. "Kneel," she commanded. This time I knelt not out of fear but out of choice. Her towering figure bent low, placing the cold weight of the crown upon my head. Her lips curved into a smile, not sharp with hunger but soft, almost human. "Rise, my king." As I stood, the shadows seemed to bow. The air thickened with a power I could not explain. When I looked at her, I no longer saw a predator claiming prey. I saw a queen offering eternity. "You were never truly my pet," she confessed. "You were the fire I sought to reignite the throne of Selvaria. Rule beside me, and the night shall never end." Her hand slipped into mine, cold yet steady. And for the first time since entering the castle, I no longer felt like a prisoner. In the nights that followed, the castle stirred with new life. Where once there was silence, laughter now echoed. Where once there was dust, torches blazed. And at the heart of it all stood Selvaria and I, queen and king of an empire of moonlight. Sometimes, when the torches burned low and the halls grew quiet, she would rest her head against mine despite her towering height. "My king," she would whisper, fangs grazing my skin but never piercing. And though I had entered her world as nothing more than a frightened man, I knew now that I had become something greater. Not a pet, not a captive, a king, crowned by a 9-foot-tall vampire countess who had once called me hers. And now I truly was. The night of our coronation was only the beginning. Word spread quickly across the forgotten lands, carried on whispers and shadows. The Countess had chosen a king. Creatures long dormant stirred from their graves, bound by ancient oaths to her bloodline. The castle no longer echoed with emptiness. It pulsed with life, or rather, unlife. At first, I struggled to see myself as anything more than a man playing dress-up in a world I did not belong. But every time doubt gnawed at me, Selvaria's hand steadied mine. "A king is not born," she told me one night as we walked along the parapets, moonlight spilling across her pale shoulders. "A king is made. And I will make you eternal." Her words were not a promise. They were a vow. I could feel her power seeping into me the longer I remained at her side. The nights grew shorter, yet sharper. My senses expanded, my body stronger, faster. And though she never bit me, never forced her curse upon me, I knew that one night I would ask her to. Not out of fear of death, but out of love for her endless night. When dawn threatened the horizon, we stood together on the highest tower. Her cloak whipped around her in the wind, and her crimson eyes glowed like molten fire. She turned to me, not as a queen to her subject, not as a mistress to her pet, but as a woman to her equal. "My king," she whispered, "shall we reign?" I took her hand. Forever. The sun never touched us that morning. Instead, the shadows embraced us both, and the world bent to a new reign, ours. The reign of the Countess and her chosen king.